A figure emerged quietly with a haunting elegance. It was the Queen Mother. Her crimson gown trailed behind her like mist. Her hair swept the floor. Her eyes didn't blink. Her voice was steady and strong. The time has come. No more begging. From today, the tide will turn. Ada listened, silent. You will search for weak sellers, China, Vietnam, wherever. Ask for credit. They'll say yes. They belong to us now. They'll send what you need. She pointed at the red wig. That is your crown. Wear it each night. Never forget. If you do, everything will crumble. And just like that, the Queen Mother vanished. That week was strange. Ale Street was the kind of place where people wrestled, life with bare fists. Generators growled through the night. Dreams gasped for air behind narrow windows. That's where Ada lived with her husband Daniel and their baby girl, in a cramped room down a long corridor in a face-me-I-face-you house. U1. Air carried smoke, sweat, and the scent of survival. Their mattress was worn flat. An old wrapper hung as a curtain. The baby's clothes dangled from nails beside Daniel's grease-stained tool bench. Daniel worked as a roadside mechanic. Every day he dragged his rusted toolbox to the same corner, near Iyana Ipaja, waiting. Some days he walked, most days he just waited. He always returned weary, hands black with grease, his pockets empty. Ada stayed home. No job, no money, no escape. She bathed the baby, fetched water, and watched daylight fade behind tongue-colored curtains. Silence, hunger, and hope were their routine. Feeding the baby was a miracle. Sometimes Ada stirred Gary with tears and called it a meal. Neighbors had stopped reacting to the baby's cries. Even the landlord had gone quiet at the door. He knew they couldn't pay. Ada felt herself sinking deeper each day. One afternoon, as she stared out the window, she watched women pass, hawking biscuits. Food, water, anything. Young girls balanced basins of okrika, knocking from gate to gate. Ada's eyes followed them. She stood, walked to Daniel, who was folding his shirt. "I want to start selling thrift clothes," she said softly. He looked up, surprised. "With what money?" "Anything. I'll start small, even one bale." Daniel didn't argue. He knew she was right. The next morning, he handed her a bundle of N10,000. "It's all I've saved. Meant for tools," he said. Ada accepted it with both hands. The next day, she left early and melted into the wave of women at Katangwa Market. It was alive. Shouts, movement, haggling. She found a vendor willing to sell a small bale, mixed women's. Clothes. She tied it with rope, stuffed it in a sack, and boarded a bus back to Ale Street. At home, she cleared a corner of the room, unpacked tops, jeans, skirts, some torn, some nearly new. She folded each one carefully. The next day, she dressed in her only decent gown, strapped her daughter to her back, lifted the load onto her head, and began. "Fine clothes, original Africa. Come and see." She walked through Iyana Ipaja, knocking, on gates, calling at roadside shops. Some women came out. Some waved her away. Some days she sold 5 items. Some days, nothing. She found shade under zinc shops when it rained, and braved the sun when it scorched. Each night she came back with sore feet and a few notes. Daniel said nothing. He watched her. Weeks passed. Business was tough, the money slower. But Ada kept going. Every time she looked at her baby, she whispered, "This cannot be the end." She didn't know it yet, but her story had just begun. Her next bale would carry more than clothes. It was early at Katangwa. By 8 a.m., the sun already pressed down. Traders yelled prices. Girls were dragged off trucks. Women fought for first. Picks. Ada stood in the chaos holding her black nylon bag. 2 weeks had passed since she last restocked. With the little she'd saved, she bought another small bale. She tied it and left before the crowd thickened. Back home, she waited for Daniel to leave. Then she locked the door, spread a wrapper on the floor, and untied the bale. Her baby slept nearby. 1. By one, she sorted the clothes. Near the bottom, her fingers brushed something soft and strange. She froze. It was a wig. Long, sleek, blood red. The color was rich, like fresh wine. It gleamed even in their dim room. Ada stared. It didn't look second-hand. It looked untouched, unreal. She turned it over and slowly placed it on her head. It fit perfectly. No adjustment. A chill ran down her spine. Her body stiffened. Just for a second. She yanked it off and laid it on the table. Later that evening, she showed Daniel. He glanced at it. That's a good one. Should sell quick. But Ada wasn't planning to sell it. She hung it on a nail above the mirror, draped a scarf over it, and said nothing more. That night, after locking the door and feeding the baby, Ada went to bed. As she closed her eyes, the dream began. She was standing in a vast hall. Walls silver, floor like glass, air sweet with perfume. Around her stood dozens of tall women in flowing gowns. Their hair, red, black, gold, glowed. They circled her. Then the circle parted. The Queen Mother stepped forward. Taller, majestic, her red gown flowed endlessly. Her face calm, powerful. "You wore the crown," she said. "You are chosen." Ada tried to speak. No words came. "You have struggled. We have cleansed you. You are now one of us." The women behind her nodded. "You will rise," the Queen continued. "Your name will spread. Wealth will come. People will bow. But you must keep the crown. Wear it each night. It is the bond. Forget even once, and your fall will be swift. We do not forgive." Ada stood frozen. The hall was silent. The Queen raised her hand. "Make your wish," Ada whispered. "I want to be rich, respected. I want my own business. I want to leave this place." The Queen lowered her hand. "Then it is done." The hall dissolved into light. Ada woke with a gasp. Her body was soaked with sweat. The room dark. Daniel snored beside her. The baby stirred. She turned to the wall. The wig still hung, glowing softly. She sat up, heart thudding. It felt like more than a dream. The wig was no longer just hair. It was a vow and a threat. That morning, Ada didn't go out. Daniel asked, "You're not selling today?" "I don't feel strong," she replied. He didn't question her. He left for work, toolbox in tow. But Ada wasn't ill. She had changed. She sat on the bed, for hours, staring at the red wig. Its glow hadn't dimmed. It watched her, too. Then the air in the room shifted. Cold. Heavy. Something had begun. The baby stopped moving in her sleep. The cotton covering stirred slightly, though the window was tightly shut. Quietly and gracefully a figure appeared. It was the Queen Mother. Her red gown flowed like smoke, her hair trailing to the floor. Her eyes never blinked. She spoke firmly. "The time has come. You will no longer beg. From today, everything will change. Are they listening in silence? You will seek out the weak vendors, China, Vietnam, anywhere. Ask them for credit. They will say yes. They are under our power now and will send you what you need." She pointed to the red wig. "This is your crown. Wear it every night. Never forget. If you do, all we have given you will fall." Just as swiftly as she appeared, the Queen Mother vanished. The room warmed again. The baby stared, and Ada, still trembling, stood and grabbed her phone. She messaged wholesale wig suppliers in China, Vietnam, Cambodia, brief to the point. I'm a retailer from Nigeria. I want to buy wigs in bulk. Can I get goods on credit? Within an hour, replies poured in. Sure, just tell us your order. Strange, yet reassuring. She didn't ask why they trusted her. She already knew. 5 days later, a large box arrived. From a vendor in China. When Daniel saw it on the floor, he was shocked. Who sent this? What's inside? Ada answered calmly. Just trying something. Where did you get the money? He pressed. I'm just experimenting, she said, withholding more. The next day she unpacked the box. Long wigs, full lace, curly, straight, bone straight. Every style was perfect and new. She sold 5 that day. By week's end, profits had grown enough to reorder. Customers arrived from nearby streets, then other towns. Her name spread. She moved from a table on a street corner to a proper shop. Daniel was confused. How are you doing this, Ada? Did someone give you money? Is someone helping you? She smiled softly. Let's just thank God. They ate better now, meat in their soup, new clothes for their daughter. More boxes came, more wigs, more customers. Her WhatsApp was buzzing, her Instagram growing. Delivery boys came and went. Soon, Ada rented a second shop and registered her. Brand, Ada Hell Palace. Then came the biggest step. A 2-bedroom flat in a gated compound at Alabadu, paid a year in advance. New towels, white walls, steady water, things Ada had only dreamed of. They moved in with new furniture, curtains, and a flat-screen TV. Daniel's old toolbox was packed away. He stopped fixing cars and began helping Ada with deliveries. Still, he had questions. One night he finally asked, Ada, tell me, how did this all start? She smiled softly. I am just favored. Daniel didn't fully believe her, but he couldn't argue with success. That night, as he snored beside their daughter, Ada quietly got up, walked into the next room, and placed the red wig on her head. She lay back down, eyes closed, waiting, because the Queen Mother was always watching. Ada's life had changed completely, from struggling on Aba streets to a tidy apartment in Alabadu. Her baby slept soundly. Daniel wore clean shirts and stayed home more, and Ada was now a name people whispered, Madame Ada's hair. 2 shops, a storage unit, delivery boys, suppliers from Vietnam, India, and China trusted her without upfront payment. Some even asked what hair types to start producing. She gave instructions like a born businesswoman. But beneath the success lay something deeper. Every night without fail, Ada wore the red wig to bed, a private ritual. No matter how tired, no matter how late, she never missed it, not wanting to risk the Queen Mother's warning. Every night she returned to the Hall of Wigs in her dreams. Quiet, glowing, sacred. Women stood in a circle, watching silently. They only spoke when the Queen Mother appeared, always in different gowns, her presence constant. She walked slowly through the hall, her voice calm and brief. You are rising well. Never forget your vow. Ada sometimes wondered, what if I'm too tired one night? The Queen Mother's face never changed. No excuses in our kingdom. Loyalty is rewarded, carelessness punished. Then the meeting ended. In the real world, Ada's business grew beyond Lagos to Abuja, Accra. She launched a website. Fashion influencers mentioned her. Her bank account grew faster than she could track, but Daniel's questions grew too. He watched as his wife transformed. The shipments, the suppliers, the late-night calls, the glow in her eyes. One day, he asked again, Ada, are you involved in something strange? She smiled carefully. I'm just lucky. Still, unease lingered. Sometimes he'd wake in the night to find her lying still, the red wig on her head, eyes closed, distant. He called her name. No response. Shaking her lightly, she'd gasp, awake, stare blankly, then remove the wig and pretend to sleep. He told himself it was just stress, but inside, fear grew, the silence between them thickening. For Ada, the wig was more than a tool. It was part of her, guarded like treasure. No one touched it or questioned it. After a particularly good week, the Queen Mother appeared again in her dream. "You are doing well. Soon you will own more than shops, warehouses, staff, a name." Then a warning: remember the rule. Break it once and all will fall. Ada nodded, as always. Our power is real, and so is our punishment. Nearly a year had passed since Ada first wore the red wig. She was someone new now, her business a brand, clients calling from cities she'd never visited. She had staff, young, women in uniform who called her Madame Ada. She moved into an even larger apartment with balconies and air conditioners. From outside, life looked perfect. Inside, Ada felt restless. The deeper she climbed, the heavier the silence. The wig was no longer just a ritual. It was a burden, a responsibility, a rule she dared not break. She hadn't missed a night until one day. It had been exhausting. Shipments delayed. A bulk order returned over quality complaints. Her Instagram hacked. She juggled fixing it all, managing deliveries, arguing with staff, and picking up her daughter. That evening, her head pounded. She came home late, quietly with Daniel and their child, and fell asleep fully dressed on the couch, forgetting the wig. Morning sunlight spilled into the room. Her daughter played nearby. Daniel sipped tea by the window. Then realization hit. Her. She sat up slowly, went to her bedroom, and stared at the wall. The red wig still hung, untouched. She froze, hands shaking, picked it up, held it close, mind racing back to the Queen Mother's words. Just one night, that's all it takes. Ada didn't go to the shop that day. She barely spoke. She paced the room, heart heavy, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. She placed the wig on her head, hoping it would erase the damage. That night, she went to bed early, eyes wide open, waiting for the dream to come. But the dream never arrived. The Hall of Wigs didn't appear. The women didn't form their circle, the Queen Mother didn't show up. Instead, Ada found herself alone in a dark, empty space. No light, no air, no sound. Then, from the shadows, a cold voice whispered, "You forgot." She turned, searching for the Queen Mother's face. "You broke the rule," the voice continued. "You were warned." Ada fell to her knees in the dream, begging, "I was tired. It wasn't on purpose." But there was no reply. Finally, the words came, "We do not forgive. It begins now." She woke up, gasping. From that moment, small troubles began to surface. A supplier messaged her angrily, "We need our money. We've waited long enough." Another vendor replied, "We don't recall approving credit for you. Who are you again?" She tried to explain, but her messages went unread. Staff started complaining about their salaries. Customers returned orders. One by one, things began to unravel. Ada felt it. The power that once carried her was slipping away, and she knew this was only the beginning. She tried to hide the cracks. When a supplier stopped replying, she told herself it was just a delay. When one vendor demanded full payment up front, she offered half, hoping to regain trust. But nothing worked. Their tone had changed. The magic was gone. She couldn't explain why those who once begged for her orders suddenly forgot who she was. One morning, she opened her accounts. More deductions than deposits. Sales slowed. Returns piled up. Clients complained. Delivery riders stopped calling. Staff quietly resigned, one after another. Still, she said nothing to Daniel. But he noticed. The house grew quieter. No more boxes. No more late-night calls. No more deliveries piling up at the gate. He watched her sit for hours, phone in hand, scrolling with no expression. One evening, as they sat facing each other in the living room, he finally asked, "Mom, what's happening?" She didn't answer. He tried again gently. "I've been watching you. Something's wrong. Business isn't the same. What's going on?" Ada forced a weak smile. "It's just a slow period. That happens." But Daniel had faced hard times with her before. He recognized the silence, the weight in her voice. He knew something had shifted. The next week, 3 suppliers messaged her in one day, demanding full payment for past orders. She owed millions. Some threatened legal action. One even contacted her former delivery agent directly, warning of fraud. Ada's hands shook every time her phone rang. She tried calling the Queen Mother late into the night, but there were no voices, no whispers, only silence. One by one, partners left. Her reputation began to decay. A video circulated online accusing her wigs of being fake. Her social media lost followers. Business partners pulled out. She received a notice to close her second shop, yet she wore the wig every night, hoping for a change. Nothing came. Then the final blow. The landlord sent an eviction notice. 3 months' rent unpaid. Ada had no answer. She had nothing left. Daniel was silent when he read the notice. He didn't shout or argue. He looked at Ada with quiet confusion. The same man who once handed her his last 10,000 NRA to chase a dream was now living in a house stripped of everything. That night, after packing a few bags, he spoke again. "I deserve to know the truth from the start." She looked at him, defeated, tears filling her eyes. Then she told him everything, about the dream, the Queen Mother, the red wig's condition, the warning, and how she broke the rule. Daniel sat quietly for a long time, then stood, leaned against the wall, and didn't say a word the rest of the night. The next morning, they left the apartment. Ada, Daniel, and their daughter carried only a few boxes and an old travel bag. They returned to Abu Street, back to the slum where it all began, but this time with no hope, only shame, and a red wig lying lifeless at the bottom of Ada's bag. When they returned, Ada was no longer the woman people envied. Her child clung tightly to her side. Diana walked behind, carrying 2 bags. Neighbors watched them enter a small room at the back of a noisy compound, the same place they once left in glory. No one spoke aloud, but whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that the mad woman? She came back like this after all that money?" Inside, Ada sat for hours without speaking. She barely touched food. Her phone rang, but she ignored it. The red wig stayed hidden inside a plastic bag, stuffed beneath the bed, wrapped in shame. Daniel tried to reach out, bringing food, asking if she wanted to talk, reminding her to rest, but she gave only short answers or none at all. Then one day, a neighbor's daughter found the red wig by accident. She told her mother, who told someone else. By evening, the whole street knew the story. Ada's wealth came from a spiritual wig. She made a pact with a mysterious kingdom. She wore it every night. She broke the rule. By morning, a crowd gathered outside the compound gates. Some prayed, others took photos. Some watched in silence, waiting. Ada stayed inside, sitting on the bare floor, tears in her eyes, holding her child. Daniel tried to protect her, but she gently pushed him away. "Need to be alone," she said. That night she took the red wig, placed it in the middle of the room, and stared at it for a long time. Then she carried it outside to the quiet street. Without a word, she dropped it in an iron basin, poured kerosene over it, and struck a match. Flames rose quickly, the red fibers melting away. People watching whispered again from a distance. The next morning, Ada didn't come out of her room, nor the day after. She stopped speaking, stopped eating. Her child cried often. Daniel did his best, but he was breaking too. He returned to hustling on the streets, coming home to silence. Ada sat on the floor all day, staring at the wall, lost in thought, her face pale, body weak, hair unkempt, eyes hollow. She sank deep into depression. No energy, no tears, just silence. Days turned to weeks. One morning, Daniel came back and found her very still. A small cup beside her, a bitter smell in the air. She had taken poison. No note, no explanation. Just an empty body and the sound of her child crying in the background. Daniel collapsed beside her, holding her hand, weeping into her lifeless fingers. Neighbors gathered, shocked and silent. Some blamed weakness, others blamed greed. Many looked away. But the truth remained. Ada had made a choice. She walked through a door she didn't fully understand, followed it to the end. And when she broke the rules, the burden was too much. Her story became a whispered warning across Lagos markets, from Iyanapa to Yaba. Beware of shortcuts wrapped in beauty. Every crown has a cost. And that was the end of Ada, legend and tragedy. A woman who flew too close to the fire and couldn't survive the fall. The lesson: don't accept success with secret conditions. Quick gains without truth or hard work can destroy everything. Some doors look beautiful, but once opened, you may never be the same. Always be careful what you say yes to, because not all gifts are blessings. Thank you for watching till the end. Please consider subscribing if you haven't yet. Like and share this video, and until our next story, goodbye.